right, so somebody said let's draw a chair, somebody said let's draw a house. So here we go. I am going to draw a house amidst these buildings, okay? I'm going to start off with a vertical. I am then going to take that vertical as promised to the point. And another thing too, I want you to know I'm on the horizon. Now, how do I know I'm on the horizon? Is because, like I said, if you go from point to point and you draw a line, this line right there, that's the horizon line. Okay, that says that's the area. Like if you look at it into the distance, you see the sky and then you see land. That is sky, this is land. Okay, now there's the beginning of my house. So actually, let me finish up this side. I'm taking it, and also another thing too, I had decided for this particular drawing to take it off the page. And what do I mean by off the page? I have one paper and I taped it down and I've got my points outside. I took another paper, okay, I don't know if you can see it better this way. See, I got two papers. And then these papers here, this paper on the side, I went ahead and I put the points. This is where I'm keeping my drawing. So it's gonna have a pretty cool look when I'm done, all right? So now, actually let me move this so that we could see that house a bit better. Okay, and make sure I'm on the camera there too. All right, so what we're doing, okay, here I've got the beginning. I'm gonna make my house, let's make it wide, let's make it short and wide, okay. So there's the shortness, and here's the width of my house. I'm gonna stop it right there, and now, midpoint, because we want a rooftop, we want cathedral ceilings, whatever the case might be. Now, from that little midpoint, I'm going to do a projectile, and then from that projectile, what am I going to do? I am going to simply finish it up by taking this to, oh wait, no, let's do the projection, because this is a projectile. And then the other part, you'll go ahead and you'll take it to the now this part here though, you'll take it to the vanishing point. So you'll take it to the vanishing point and then you'll parallel and parallel, okay? And you could go further. I mean, if you want, you could make this part a little bit more indented and make it so that the fascia comes over, let's say, the house. But this is just strictly for, you know, understanding what we're doing. So we'll go ahead, let's say, and put a door over here. And remember, we've got to take everything to the point. We can't just physically draw whatever it is that we want, so to speak. We have to use the law. The law is the 2-point perspective. So with that, we have to make sure everything that we draw goes to that point. So let's say if I want to draw windows over here, I would have to take it to the point as well, okay? So everything we do, except for the verticals, go to the point. Remember, the law is, you got the, like we talked last time, okay? The 2-point perspective laws are, you got two vanishing points, you got a vertical, you take it to the two VPs, then you do the parallel vertical. Anytime you go above or below the horizon, you go to the opposite VP. So here I am, I did my little house, and I could go more. I could do a heck of a lot more. Let's say, I don't know, let's make a projection let's make a little awning on the house, the little window, we'll do a little awning. And then that awning, I went with the projectile from here. Okay, I took this and I made my little line there for the projectile. And now this has got, I'm taking this part, this here, to the vanishing point, okay? And then I arc it because parallel, and now I've got my little, I don't know, my awning of some sort there. And let's say I want to put some windows on this side, like we talked about, vertical. And then these guys, this will help you to get it to the point. Always use the vanishing point. If you don't use the vanishing point, you're not going to be very happy with the way it looks. It will not look realistic. And another thing too, theory of relativity. Whenever you draw this perspective, at first your mind is going to say, oh my God, it looks so weird. But if you keep drawing, keep putting the pieces together, I promise you success. it will look like whatever it is. It's just that you've got to put the other parts in before it starts to look normal. So there's my little house, emits these little, maybe apartment building, maybe a corner store, I don't know. Does that make sense? Hello, hello?
Yeah.
Okay, now let's say a chair. Somebody said a chair. So here we go. Let's draw a chair. So we start with the middle vertical. What I do when I draw things, I tend to think if I had to ship that particular chair across the country, what kind of box would I ship it in? And that's usually what I'll start off with. I'll start off with a very light drawing of the box first, okay? The size, the width, the height of my chair, okay? Let's say this is my height and width of my chair. And as you see, I'm using the vanishing points. The only time I'm not using the vanishing points now here, because I went below the horizon, I have to go to the opposite now. So I'm using both of my vanishing points. Only time you don't use is when you do the verticals. Verticals, the only time you don't use it. If you find yourself not using the point, then something's wrong. Okay, so now, chair. I'm gonna have the chair facing this way. So what I'm gonna do here is now the back of the chair. Back of the chair is being sculpted, okay? Yes, it's almost like sculpture. It's like you're chiseling your reality. I think it's kind of cool. Because like you could literally make anything you want. I mean, that's how do you think these game designers get you to believe in the reality that you're looking at? It's because they are so good with creating reality. They're so good with their perspective that they did that fool of the eye trick with you. And they made you believe in this little alternate world, okay, using perspective. That's how they did it. I'm going to go a little bit inward because I just noticed something was slightly off right here. So I'm going to make my chair. Actually, no, that could be the cushion. Yeah, let's do that. I'm going to keep it the cushion. Because you know how cushions project outward a bit? I'll keep that the cushion. No biggie. Okay, so we'll keep that. And now we're making the base. See, so what I did is I first started with the basic, let's say, box I would ship my my chair in, okay? I know that sounds kind of funny, but that's the reality of it. You got to think about what is the basic form first, and then from the basic form, everything else.
Can you lower the paper down?
Lower. Hold on.
Yeah.
You can't see it? Okay, hold on.
No.
Okay. I'll bring it up. Is that good? Better?
Yeah.
Okay, so now, okay, we've got the dimension, the width, okay, of the chair, so to speak, the legs of the chair. And kind of like that. Okay, so you see that? Now somebody's coming in late. It's like, what? And then they're going to tell me, what did we do? Like, well, go watch YouTube. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. It happens in the classroom too. It's really frustrating. Actually, I kind of like the idea of having my YouTube videos. It's might help me out in the classroom a bit. So now you go about, let me think, hold on, something's missing. Thickness is missing. Thickness is missing in this little area right here. So let me put in some thickness of the leg of the chair. Okay, so now we got our little chair in space, okay? And there we go. So we got our chair like many of you wanted, and we've got the house, okay? House and chair are ready, all right? So we got, and you can round it out, make it more, you know, let's say realistic or cushy or pretty to look at. As long as you, like even there, you know, you have to take it to the point, rounding out the form if you want to, you can. Okay, they don't have to stay all boxy. Okay, does that make sense? Hello, hello. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. Now, another thing. So I did my house for you, I did the chair, and I'll have that on YouTube for you. Now, another thing I thought I would do for you is I thought I would go ahead and start showing you, for some of you who are asking me about color, some of you are asking me about pencil and all this other stuff. So I'm gonna start with pencil, okay? Just like regular, traditional pencil. Let me get one real quick. Sorry. Should have had it here. I thought I had a pencil, but I don't. Okay, with the pencil, what you're gonna do is the following. Okay, let's say I need to shade in this chair, all right? So what I'm gonna do, if you guys remember that thing, light to dark, light to dark. Remember that assignment that we did in the beginning with the value scales? You're using the side of the pencil, the point of the pencil. I don't care, whatever it is that you're using. Remember, there's some techniques. There's the blending, the hatching, the cross hatching, the stippling. This one's the blending. I'm using the side and I'm going from light to dark with my medium. Okay, it's best to start off light and then slowly go dark. That is the better way. And another thing too, I like to not show lines. So right there I did my light to dark, and now because I went from light to dark here, I'm gonna go from light to dark here. Now another thing too, it's up to you. You could think about lighting, because we did learn about lighting. We learned about highlight, cast shadow. We learned about reflective light. So if you want to, you could put that in as you work. Now, this is getting tricky now, because now I'm going into a territory where this area here, there's too much competition. So I want to make sure that it shows. So right there I'm getting lighter, but along here I'm getting darker. I know that's kind of like a bad thing to do, but I want to create that dimension, okay? Now here, because it's light, I'm going to go dark here, and then I'm going to slowly fade it to the lighter shade. Now, using the side of the pencil or a beveled edge, what I mean by beveled is when it slants a bit, it starts to take on like a curve, like the lead itself. This is called beveled. That little edge there, it's a beveled edge, and that's what's happening to my pencil as I use it. I'm not using my finger. I'm not smudging, okay? That is a big no-no with shaker. You don't want to smudge on my work, okay? On your work, I don't want to see you smudging at all. Now, because I started light here, that's why I picked up on dark here. Even if you do that, I'm happy, okay? That will tell me that you're learning and that you're understanding what I'm teaching in regards to value variation. Varying your value, going from light to dark, okay? Now we have some competition here. This is light, this is dark, and now, I gotta get darker in here. So right there, I'm gonna come in with a pitch black kind of shade, and then I'm gonna slowly fade it. And how do you fade it? It's pressure, patience, and you will not get it the first time. It's hard, it's not easy. I will not lie to you, okay? But the more you do it, the better you will get at it, okay? So right now what I just did is I used my pencil, and I used the blending technique, and I'm using the side, and I'm using my pressure, my patience to create the shade that you see, okay? So that's how you would shade it. I mean, you guys, some of you are turning in work that you haven't even shaded or blended. Yo, that's not art. Okay, I'm sorry. If you read my directions carefully, it says to fill in using choice of media and choice of technique. Technique is blending, hatching, cross-hatching, stippling. Okay, which one you choose, that's up to you. See, this is becoming your voice now. However it is that you want to create your work, I like to blend. So I'm going to use the blending technique. Some of you might use cross-hatching. Some of you might use hatching. So right there, I went ahead and I shaded in. And you know, you want to be fancy, you could go ahead and throw your shadows in. Okay? all my fancy people, go ahead and do your shadows. Okay, that shadow could be in the background, you know, taking up that background area, and it's going to be hard in some areas. You're going to, like here, there's competition, so I got to really go super dark back here so that way it shows. If I don't do that super dark, I'm going to lose my chair, or I should lose the edge of my chair and the legs of my chair. So I got to do that, and I'll fade it out just like that. Does that make sense? Hello, hello. Are you guys with me? Hello?
Yes.
Okay, another medium that I recommended, because I know some of you, I don't have this, I don't have that. That's fine. Just go ahead. Keep it in pencil, okay? If it's pencil, I'm good. If you're doing this, I'm fine, okay? Now, another medium that you could use ballpoint pen, all right? Like, let's say, I don't know, let's say I want to go ahead and shade in this area here. I'll go ahead, let's say I'll use a different technique. I'll use hatching, okay? Lines in one direction, closer you get with the lines, the darker, farther apart, the lighter. So here I am, filling in, using my hatching, and you know I'm a little chaotic with my hatching. It kind of looks like cross hatching, but I try to keep it in one direction, okay? As long as you keep it in one direction, you're good, okay? And I tend to get a little exaggerant with my shade and value. I like to, okay? It's fun. I like to create realities. I like to create an illusion. So in that respect, you know, that's what I do. Over here on this side, because I want to create this idea of light coming from this side, I'll go ahead and keep that light, or if I want, I could come in with very soft shade. Now, the farther apart you hold your pen, you'll get a lighter shade, okay? Another thing too, some kids ask me, my AP kids, they ask me, can I blend with pen? Yeah, you can in some way. In the beginning, it kind of looks like hatching, but the more you pass over it, it's gonna start looking like blending, especially if you're working real soft. Like right now, I'm barely touching the paper, okay? I'm creating a very faint line. I know it sounds weird, art is that way. We always think about pressure, we think about patience, we think about how hard we're coming down onto the paper and how softly we work. You know, it helps to build the shade and value. That's why, you know, we do that. So here I've used the hatching, and what did I do? I came in and I created my value variation. I'm going from light to dark, light to dark, light to dark, creating this idea, this illusion of shade, okay, and value. That's what I want to see, okay? I don't want to see line drawings. Yo, that's kindergarten, okay? You're in high school now. High school, I want to see you play with reality. I want to see you build form. I want to see you build dimension, okay? So here's using the pencil, here's using the pen, all right? Now, let me think what else you could use. Remember, we also talked about color. I do have a video already about the color, but I figured, hey, since I'm teaching all this, I might as well go ahead and explore the color. And if you guys remember, I talked about analogous colors, okay? Analogous colors are next to each other on the color wheel. Like for instance, let's say, I don't know, let's go into this building here, okay? I'll start in with an orange, okay? Remember, like I said, starting with one color. Do what you did with pencil, okay? But you're doing it with one color, okay? So start off first with one color. I don't care what that color is. You decide it. And after you've got that light to dark thing going on, okay? Here I'm coming in with this on the side. I want a light value. Here, I'm gonna get it a little bit darker. I'm gonna come in with a darker value, and I'm gonna definitely, you know, do it in a way where I'm building my form. Oops, and I just made a boo-boo. I went over my window. No. Please forgive me. I made a mistake, but that's okay. I'll go ahead and correct it in a few minutes. So what I just did, okay, is I'm this side here, I came in with a darker value, as you see, okay? And why do I do that? Because of contrast, okay? Light against dark always defines the form rather than a line. I like it better if you use shade over line, okay? I'm using the side and the point to create my value variation with just orange first, okay? Now, after the orange, I'm gonna look at the color wheel. What is next to orange is red on one side. On the other side, we got yellow. So let's see if theory is correct. Here's my red. They say that if you put a little bit of red into the orange, it's going to make it appear darker, okay? And they say that if you put yellow into it, it's going to make it appear lighter. So you would put the darker value in the darker area. And if you want to create, again, that value variation, it went from light to dark, okay? So here, I'm going to come in with a darker value. And don't worry, I haven't forgotten about the windows. I will go into those in a minute, as I see I did make a little bit of a boo-boo, okay? And here, I'm going to get it a little darker because that's my projection. I want it to stand out a bit. And you're going to see in a minute what I'll do there. And here, I'm going to make it a little bit darker, but not as dark as that red, okay? I want it dark, but not as dark as that red. That red now, I'm going to go ahead and pop some purple. You go, what? Purple? Yes, purple is right next to the red on the color wheel. I left you a color wheel in our post area, okay? If you check out that, and I think I even put it up in our area for our project. So if you need a color wheel, it's there. Okay, just look at the color wheel. Whatever's next to, you could use to create value variation. Now, in here is what I'm gonna go darker, okay? Because I have really no way that I could show that darkness. I kind of messed up in that area, so that's why I'm going a bit darker so you could see it a bit more. And I'll even bump it up to a blue, because right next to purple is blue. So in that area, I'll go ahead and use my blue in that area to even knock it further back into space. So now I've got that little window area looking even darker. So I went from the red to the purple to the blue. Okay, so man, I'm using a lot of colors to create this illusion, okay? Now here, they say that in the lighter areas, you could pop some yellow. So let's see if that works. Yes, it's working, okay? Whenever you pop that yellow, it makes it look like it's lighter. Gives it that vibrancy too, all in the light area. So I might pop a little bit of that yellow into my light area, okay? And is theory working? Yes, theory is working. Now, let me share it on this camera because the coloring is a bit better so you guys can see. That's the building, okay? That's the other building, and that is the chair, okay? So that way you kind of understand. Here we've worked with what? We worked with 3 different mediums. We used the pencil, okay? We used pen, and we used color pencil. Those are your 3 choices. Now, I know I don't have probably too many people using charcoal. Is there anybody by chance who has charcoal at home? Anybody? Anybody? Because if you don't have it, that's okay. I can teach it to you another time, okay? Any questions? Questions about those 3 mediums and what I expect for you to do when you actually start coloring it in, okay? So right now, most of you are drawing your 2-point perspective. It takes time. To make up your worlds, whatever those worlds might be, it does take time. So then after that, then you're going to start coloring in. Now, again, you should either use pencil, pen, or color pencil, whatever you have at home, okay? Don't go out and buy. If you can't go out and buy, I know parents are kind of strapped right now. Some parents are working 1 job in the house. Some people, it's a lot of stuff going on there in the pandemic, okay? And I have to understand. Now, any questions about these three mediums. Questions? Questions? All right, I think I kind of shared with you, we reviewed the 2-point perspective. We then went a little step further into the medium, and I hope that helped, okay? Any questions from anybody?